It's live, and this week's roundup of chamber music and choral music, Christmas choral music mostly, for the week of December 18th to December 15th to December 22nd, 2025. And it's almost Christmas, folks, and the calendar is loaded with Christmas concerts. Before I get to them, though, let me take care of getting up this some of the imagery for you that I'm supposed to have all set up. But there was so much going on today that I barely got this live stream up, and it's up late. It's up very late, but it was the best I could do, folks. So let me make sure one more thing. I'm supposed to make sure that that little banner is there, little Access Arts Live banner. Before I go any further, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching this on any of our other platforms, do yourself a favor, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live. It's free of charge wherever you find us, and in return, you will get access to more than 1,000 live performances online. We don't create them. We just let you know where they are and make sure you get the live links. So all you have to do is follow us, and all the live links and the information about them comes to you automatically. And let me tell you, it's a lot of work putting all that info together. There's no way you can keep track of it, all of it yourself, unless you're like devoted to spending hours and hours and hours every week. And you probably have better things to do than that. Okay, so let us then get on to today's lineup of so many performances to tell you about. Now, the first thing, the first thing I want to mention before anything else is that if you haven't been following us, then you would have missed today's announcement about the first live stream, which was the top pianist Andrea Bachetti, a real up and coming young pianist who was at St. Marys Perivale, playing everything from Bach to Henry Mancini today. So you missed that. That was this afternoon, 3:00 London time. But we don't have any more live streams for you today, except for the two symphonic live streams, which are ongoing. But I've already talked about those. We've already noticed them separately. So let's get on to what's next, which will be on Wednesday. Coming from the Old Church in Portland, Oregon. Wednesday, December 17th, the Old Church in Portland, Oregon, live streams the well-traveled pianist and entertainer, David Saffert, known for his work in sketch comedy, improv, piano concerts, and his own music and comedy variety shows. That'll be at noon in Portland, Oregon, which will be 3:00 on the East Coast, 9:00 in the evening here in Europe. We cannot tell you what he's going to be playing, but he is a classically trained pianist, lives in Portland, Oregon. He's worked with top places like the Guthrie Theater, the Oregon Ballet, the Oregon Symphony, etc. He came out with his first solo piano album called Stopping Time earlier this year. He tours the country as Liberace in a Liberace and Liza tribute, with advice from Bo Ayers, who was Liberace's own music director. Can't tell you what he's going to be playing, but I can tell you it'll be entertaining, whatever it is. Okay, so then let's move on to the next, probably much more classical pianist recital with Mark Viner back at St. Marys Perivale. He's been there before. In fact, he was there just in the last couple of months. Tuesday, December 8th. Wait, I'm sorry, I've got the wrong thing. Thursday, December 18th. St. Marys Perivale's familiar pianist Mark Viner plays a Christmas recital, beginning with a Mozart sonata, and then music by Rebikov, Tchaikovsky, and Liszt, ending with Liszt Hungarian Rhapsody. So it's Christmas, but it has, a Mozart piano sonata, Kerschel in A, Kerschel 331. But that's not exactly Christmas. But then he plays Rebikov's A Christmas Tree, Then he plays some pieces by Tchaikovsky from the Nutcracker selections. Then he plays selections from Liszt's Weihnachtsbaum, a Christmas tree. And then he finishes with the Hungarian Rhapsody. He's been described as, by International Piano Magazine, as, quote, one of the most gifted pianist of his generation. But I got to say, if I repeated that every time I see that in a pianist bio, I'd just be saying it all the time and you wouldn't believe me. But he is indisputably a leader in what they call the Romantic Revival in the UK. So he's an Alcan music specialist. He won first prize at the Alcan Zimmerman International Piano Competition in Athens, Greece, over a decade ago. He then became the chairman of the Alcan Society, and he's working on an 18 CD complete piano music of Alcan collection. So, Merry Christmas from the chairman of the Alcan Society. Come on. And from you, Mathers, the charming and erudite guy who runs St. Marys Perivale. We move on to another concert on Thursday, a little later in the day, from the always expert, but sometimes just superb Midtown Concerts. And they've done it again this time, although this is a group that has been with them before. It'll be Julia Bengtsson, the superb dancer. And I think she's an absolutely gorgeous woman, and I hope she doesn't mind my saying so, because she just is. Takes nothing away from her talent. It just adds to it. Midtown Concerts live streams another high-quality performance by the superb Swedish-born Julia Bengtsson and the New York Baroque Dance Company, called Ballerinas of the Baroque, celebrating ballerinas of that era by recreating their dances based on their own notes. That'll be Thursday at the usual 1:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in New York City. That'll make it 10:15 in the morning on the West Coast and 7:15 in the evening here in Europe. Julia Bengtsson is going to perform something called Les Caractères de la Danse, the characters of the dance, in the style of Françoise Prévost, with music by Jean-Ferry Rebel. They'll have a harpsichordist, flute, violin, cello, etc. Then Irénée Méline Gompère is going to dance a suite from Handel's Terpsichore in the style of Marie Salé. And then there'll be more such dances reconstructed by other dancers in the New York Baroque. This dance company has been around for 50 years, originally founded by Catherine Tarosi and Anne Jacobi, and they're internationally recognized. If you go to their website, there's praise for them by publications like the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Village Voice, various online opera critics from all over Europe and the U.S. So this will be a top thing. They were awarded a grant from the French Ministry of Culture earlier this year to support their research to celebrate Lafayette and the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States, which we are currently celebrating. So, recognized by the French Ministry of Culture. Doesn't get better than that. Okay. Then we move on to, now those are what we have in terms of strictly classical chamber music productions, live streams to tell you about this week. We then move on to, I want to tell you about a couple of contemporary avant-garde pieces that are going on this week at Roulette Intermedium. There may be additional live streams from Constellation Chicago and Composers Concordance. I will get to those in a separate live stream later this week, but I had these two I was ready to tell you about them. So Wednesday, December 16th, Roulette Intermedium live streams a double bill as Contemporary East presents composer and instrumentalist Kaoru Watanabe performing his work Incense, alongside the world premiere of a new piece by Guggenheim fellow Yoon-Ji Lee. That'll be at 8 o'clock in the evening, New York City time, 5 o'clock in LA, and 2 o'clock in the morning here in Europe. Noon the next morning down under in Australia, Thursday morning. Watanabe plays Japanese flutes, drums, zithers, and interweaves that with voice and electronics. And Yoon-Ji, she uses what were called continuously clashing, unsettled sonic textures, improvisation, and multimedia elements. You've got percussion, accordion, acoustic guitar, electronics, visual art, all combined in all of this. And Yoon-Ji Lee is a multi-award winner, not just a Guggenheim Fellow, but she's received other awards as well. So, you know, my younger brother, when I send him stuff about Roulette Intermedium, sometimes he'll respond with an email saying, "What is this?" Because it's not typical classical music. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's now music, you know, and by people who have both contemporary and classical backgrounds or backgrounds in the folk tradition of their own country. And so I tell you about it. I don't curate it. I count on places like Roulette Intermedium to curate it, to pick out the best people in doing this kind of contemporary creations. And they have another one this week, which I will tell you about briefly. And then we will be on to talking about Christmas concerts. So let's do this one more. Where's the next one? Yeah, here's the next one. It's a big band. Usually I don't handle big bands, but the people doing this big band, they have classical experience and they draw upon that. So Thursday, December 18th, Roulette Intermedium live streams the Weber Morris Big Band, led by flautist, saxophonist, and composer Anna Weber, and composer, saxophonist, and multi-instrumentalist Angela Morris. That's at the typical time of 8 o'clock in the evening in New York City. You can figure out the rest on your own, right? Okay. Anna Weber, she's a flautist, a saxophonist, and her work is at the intersection between avant-garde jazz and new classical music, which is why it comes in here. This is wild chamber music, you could say. And she's done residencies at places like the MacDowell Colony, the Malay Colony for the Arts, and the Brush Creek Foundation for the Arts. Now, Angela Morris is similarly involved in avant-garde jazz, new music, and pop. And she's been an artist in residence at the Atlantic Center for the Arts and the Banff Center. I can't tell you what this now music is. Check it out if you're interested in what people are creating now out of nothing. You know, this is not, you know, Schubert's piano quartet in G minor or what. No, this is, well, what if we just make it up with electronics and sound and all of that? So it has its place, and I present it to you. So now we can move on to Christmas, 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 and a selection of Christmas concerts going on this week that I want to make sure you know about. Okay. All right. And I think the first of them is the St. Thomas Boys Choir, but if I'm wrong, no, it's not. This is a different choir. Wednesday, December 17th, Artbene live streams from the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Moscow, the debut choir of Boys and Young Men, singing a program that includes music by Louis Vierne, Adolph Adams, Tariv Verdiev, Krylatov, Caccini, Albinoni, and others. This will be at 6 o'clock in the evening, European time, noon on the East Coast, and 9 in the morning on the West Coast. So lunch or breakfast on Wednesday if you want to listen to a boys choir. I love boys choirs. To give you an example, some of the pieces they'll be doing, they'll start with an organ solo playing Louis Viern's Westminster Bells. Bum, 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 you know that, because there are always organ solos during these concerts at the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. Some of the songs the boys will be singing will be Cohen. They'll start out with Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. They'll do Adolph Adams' Oh Holy Night, Oh Holy Night, etc. They'll do Albinone's at Adagio. Then they're going to do a couple pieces that you may not know. A piece by Andrei Eshpe, who's a contemporary, just died about a decade ago. Poems by Yevgeny Yevtushenko, the noted Russian or actually Soviet poet, called a piece called "It's Snowing." Then they'll do a piece by the composer Mikhail Tariverdiev called "Snow over Leningrad." Well, actually, no, that's an organ solo. I made a mistake again, folks, and you can count on me to make more of them. So if you're up for an organ and boys choir on Wednesday, you got it. Next, we go to Washington, D.C. for something completely different. Where is it? There. Yo. Okay. Thursday, December 18th, the Peace and Carol Ringers celebrate over 5 decades of handbell ringing at St. Matthew's UMC in Annandale, Virginia, with their concert Songs of the Season. This will include a variety of both secular and sacred music performed on 7 octaves of handbells, chimes, and some other percussion instruments. There are no limits. And this is an annual appearance that they make at the Kennedy Center. It's at the usual Kennedy Center times. I'm going to give you several of the Kennedy Center live streams going on this weekend, which are all Christmas live streams. The usual time is 6 in the evening in Washington, D.C., which makes it 3 o'clock on the West Coast in San Francisco, Seattle, L.A., midnight here in Europe, and 10 o'clock the next morning down under in Australia. I don't have more information about what they'll be singing than that, but it's Christmas songs and carols with bells ringing. Okay. Merry Christmas, ding-a-ling-a-ling. All right. Now, if you want to get back to actually singing, well, we've got another boys' choir for you coming up after that one. From St. Thomas Church, the St. Thomas Boys Choir in Manhattan. Thursday, December 18th at 5:30 p.m. New York City time, the St. Thomas Boys Choir will be performing a Christmas concert called Christmas on Fifth Avenue. Sophisticated Christmas songs in a New York state of mind, you could say. This is not free of charge. It's one of the few concerts I'm telling you about this week that will cost you something. It will cost you $22 to tune into it. You know, they do fundraisers with this. But look, if you were there in person, you'd be paying $36 to $60, not $22. So it's a bargain. I'll give you an example of some of the songs they're doing. Gauntlets, Once in Royal David City. If you're an American, you recognize these titles. Harold Dark's In the Bleak Midwinter, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, Good King Wenceslas, Silent Night, well, they'll do it in German, Stille Nacht, Berlin's White Christmas, Oh Holy Night, which everybody sings at Christmas time, and they'll finish up with the 12 Days of Christmas. Christmas concert, New York style. But that's not all. The Kennedy Center continues with more Christmas concerts this weekend, which I want to tell you about. This next one will be, I think this next one is Ukrainian Christmas. And yes, it is. I'm right about that at least. Okay. On Friday, December 19th, the Kennedy Center Millennium Stage will be live streaming Gurdon, the Ukrainian group, performing their Wheel of Holidays from Christmas to Christmas concert, which we are told highlights the Ukrainian traditions in music, song, and dance. So this will be a robust experience. The Gerdon was founded by Ukrainian violinist Solomia Gorokivska and the Grammy Award-winning flautist Andrei Pidkivka. So, and they say that their concert reflects a conception of a cyclical flow of time and how each holiday leads into the next, forming, they tell us, a seamless flow of cultural memory, music, and seasonal change. Merry Christmas, Ukrainian style, Friday. And that's not all. There's one more Kennedy Center celebratory live stream this week. And I missed telling you about the live stream of the Tuba Christmas earlier this week, and I feel bad about it. It was on Monday. Found out about it too late. Actually, I wrote up the announcement, and then we didn't get around to having the time to post it. Okay. The Beltway Brass Quintet has been performing in and around Washington, D.C. since 2003. They have a repertoire of 20th century jazz harmonies and stylings, and they'll be live streamed by the Kennedy Center Millennium Stage Saturday, December 6th at their usual 6 p.m. Washington, D.C. time. I can't tell you, they don't give us a listing of the programs of exactly what they're going to be playing. I can show you a picture of them, and I can guarantee you they come back every year at Christmas time and sell it out because people love it. It's very festive. I mean, brass quintets is very much an American style way of celebrating the Christmas season. The Eccles International Organ Festival always has an organ and brass festival with the whole brass section of the Utah Symphony Orchestra. This is not quite as many, but these guys are dyed in the wool. They've been doing this for 2 decades already. So this will be very expert. It'll be very celebratory, and it'll be Christmas brass. Okay, and then we have, that's not all, because there's yet another choir concert this weekend for me to tell you about. I am not sure if I have a photo of this next choir. Yeah, I have a feeling that I don't, but I think I can show you. The organist. At least should be able to show you that. Dig this up. I always like to have some kind of a picture to show you. Maria Mos. Here she is. I can show you the organist. There you go. Maria Mosayeva and the choir Melody performed Christmas music by Bach, Liszt, Gounod, Eschenval, Slavkin, Stetsenko, Britten, Gavrilin, Levitt, and more. Saturday, December 20th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, European time. A concert called Nativity Mystery for organ, choir, and artistic expression. They will have, besides Maria Mosayeva on the organ, they will have the actress Ingeborga Lubomirska, who often does narration and these kinds of things at the Roman Catholic Cathedral, presenting artistic verse. And they'll start out as usual. This will start out with an organ piece, which is why it's important to recognize the organist. They'll start out with Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor, which is a traditional favor. Then they'll go on to doing things like Britten's Procession from the Ceremony of Carols, Stars by Eric Eschenwald, Bach's the Bach Gounod Ave Maria, Slavkin's Snow, Britten's Volcom Yule, which I think means Welcome Yule, from the Ceremony of Carols, A Little Babe from the Ceremony of Carols, etc., etc. So it'll be, and then some Czech, some French Christmas carols, carols in other languages, an international sort of across the board kind of concert. When I was a boy, I sang in a boys' choir, and before midnight mass, we always did a 45-minute concert of songs from all over, from Spain, from France, from Italy, from England, from Germany, etc. It sounds like this is that kind of thing. That's what children's choirs do at Christmas. Okay, I think we have 2 more concerts to tell you about. Oh, I only have 1 more concert to tell you about. Okay, let's move on to that. If I may, those of you who hang around and watch this and stay with it, I really have to thank you for doing so. Yeah, I have 2 more concerts to tell you about, and then we're done. And I think we'll just get in under what I like to think of as my 30-minute limit. And they're both from the old church in San Francisco. Well, from Old First in San Francisco, not to be confused with the old church in Portland, Oregon. Saturday, December 20th, Old First concerts. Live streams the Golden Bough singing Christmas in a Celtic Land. Rare versions of Celtic songs of winter from Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and Cornwall, as well as their own unique take on better-known Christmas carols. That'll be at 8 o'clock in the evening on the West Coast, so that'll make it 11 o'clock, late night in New York City and D.C. and in Florida, etc. 5 o'clock in the morning here in Europe, and a lovely 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Sunday afternoon down under in Australia, in places like Sydney and Melbourne, and earlier in the afternoon if you're in Perth, for instance. Golden Bough has been around for a while. They were founded in 1980, so they're like 45 years old as a group, and they're sort of an established itinerant traveling group of modern day minstrels specializing in real Celtic music. And the instruments include the Celtic harp, the penny whistle, guitar, accordion, violin, viola, mandolin, and bodhran, which is a Celtic handheld drum. Rock and Reel magazine in England had this to say about them: a vibrant and multifaceted collection. Christmas in a Celtic Land sees Golden Bough at their musical and creative peak. So they've been around for 45 years and they're at their peak. If you love Celtic Christmas, Merry Christmas. Sure wish I knew how to say that in one of those Celtic languages like Gaelic, but I won't pretend I do. And we have one last concert to tell you about, and we will just get in under the 30-minute limit that I set for myself. Okay, and this last one is by a group called Kitka. Again, a women's group. Sunday, December 21st, Kitka, the women's vocal ensemble now celebrating its 45th anniversary season, will be singing their annual Winter Songs concert at Old First Concerts in San Francisco. This will be a dramatic song cycle of music gathered from across Ukraine, the Republic of Georgia, and the Baltic, Mediterranean, and Slavic lands. You see them there in that picture. This is at 4 o'clock San Francisco time, which will make it 7 in the evening on the East Coast, 1 o'clock in the morning here in Europe, and 11 o'clock Monday morning down under in Australia. Kitka it's been around as long as the other group that I was telling you about, Golden Bough, and so this is a practiced, the French would say bien rodé, very worked in ensemble. They're coming out with a new album called Kolo next year, and they'll be singing some songs from it. Kolo is a root word in Baltic Balkan and Slavic cultures that means circle wheel and refers to a spiraling communal line dance. So it's the cosmic cycle of creation, growth, destruction, and renewal, which women know much more intimately than do we men. Folks, that's what we have for you this week. I mean, they do biologically. That's what we have for you this week in terms of both chamber music and choral Christmas concerts. And we got it all in one session. So let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you see us anywhere else on our other 6 platforms, do yourself a favor and do your friends a favor to tell them about this. You can get thousands of hours of live performances online, free of charge, via Access Arts Live, because we will provide you with more than 1,000 live links to live performances online, like some of the ones we've been telling you about just now, every year. That's 20 a week. That's more than you're going to have time to watch. So, and we are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, X, and LinkedIn. But the best places to follow and or subscribe us will always be on Facebook and YouTube, where we put up the most clips and are the most accessible. With that, I will wish you a lovely pre-Christmas week. I may be back on Friday with weekend highlights. I may be not. It's the Christmas season. I need some downtime as well. So ciao for now.